Oh boy. Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is all in the charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, drop me a comment, subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon for notifications to know when I go live. There is nothing I would rather be doing on a Friday evening at 5 p.m. than charting with you. That is called sarcasm. No, I love what I do, and I'm glad I'm here. I hope everybody's been having a nice day. Right before this live stream, I was reminded of my surroundings. So I got a nice new shirt, and I don't know about you, but what's up, brother? Glad to see you in here, Three Musketeers. Look, I've had this problem since around the age of about 20, around the age of 20, right? Clothes don't fit me right, all right? I have what's known as a V-shaped body, okay? Really narrow waist, the lats extend up, okay? So thumbs up, everyone. Appreciate the support. So I get shirts fitted, all right? I like things that fit, they fit me like they should fit me, all right? You buy a medium-sized shirt and it's all baggy and shit, all right, around here. So I took a new shirt in. I'm excited to get this thing fitted. I really like this new shirt I got. And I'm driving back here. This is right before the live stream. I'm driving back here, and I live in South Florida, for all those that don't know. Now, there's a main intersection that I decided to go straight past, and had I taken a left, it would have taken me up towards where I live. But at that light there to take a left, it's just very congested. So I decided to go straight and take a left on a back road. And I mean, I know there's some sketchy areas kind of close to where I'm at, but the extent of that is a little bit more than I realized. I took a left, and I just want you to imagine the scene. There's a white boy in a black Integra driving through. I'm in a good mood. I'm trying to put myself in a good mood because it's been gloomy outside. I've been working all day. I haven't really done anything. And I'm listening to Michael Jackson, okay? I was listening to a bunch of his songs, and I had Thriller on. I'm driving through, and Thriller, and I'm driving through, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, Christ. Let's turn down the music, and let's not bop to the music. It was an interesting scene. I will just let you try to imagine the scene. A little ghetto out there, a little ghetto. There is a part in the song of Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller, where he's talking about a creature with 1,000 eyes or something like that. I would rather encounter a creature with 1,000 eyes than the shit I saw on those back roads. There were some dudes, look, I can handle myself, okay? But I'm also a smart individual. I cruised right on down that side street and got the fuck onto the main street. As quickly as I could. That shit was rough. Welcome in, guys. We're going to take a look at a few charts today. The focus of today's live stream, I'm not seeing the love right now on the thumbs up. I don't know what's going on there. But today's focus is really going to be taking a more granular look at what I have termed to be a positive correlation which has existed. Again, we're just using history here. A positive correlation which has existed between equity markets and Bitcoin. And we want to focus on Bitcoin because the reason that I've continued to hit on this channel is as long as Bitcoin is doing its thing, okay, and it's going really positive and it's making some strong gains, that's going to give us momentum and it's going to give us liquidity for the altcoins, right? Think of it this way. If we are in a risk-on environment, which is what we need. Okay, cheers. This is the beer that people drink when they don't want to consume calories. Michelob Ultra. If it's a risk-on environment, right, that is what's going to, first off, fuel crypto. And the way that we know that it's a risk-on environment is if the stock market's doing well, okay? It has to be a risk-on asset, number one. Number two is the money is going to flow into the least risky of assets, right? It's going to be Bitcoin. So Bitcoin needs to start performing well. As soon as Bitcoin starts performing well, and the degree to which it's performing well, that is going to fuel even more confidence for the market to go into riskier assets. What are the riskier assets? The riskier assets are your altcoins, right? So that is the general trajectory and move of things, okay? So very important to take a look at Bitcoin and assess the relative positive correlation. Let me turn on the light here. I don't see the camera's not really good. You can see the lighting is pretty bad. All right, let's do that. But it's very important to take a look at this positive correlation that exists between the stock market and Bitcoin. And so we're going to do that. And one of the things I've been emphasizing with you guys is that right now Bitcoin has been lagging. The rotation is happening. We shall see. Bitcoin has been lagging the NASDAQ and the S&P, and that's what we're going to look at. I was on an interesting Twitter Spaces yesterday. It's interesting. I've had a lot more time to myself, and how I've chosen to spend that time is doing this stuff. I was on a Twitter Spaces yesterday. It was a really good time. I'm looking forward to doing more of those events. And I was sharing kind of some of what I'm sharing now, and also some additional information to other charts that I've spoken to in the past. But the point is, based on a lot of the things that I've shared with you guys, okay, a lot of the charts, and we took a look at charts yesterday that are concerning, okay, it's important to keep those things in mind, but between what history tells us, this 70-year history, okay, we looked at this federal funds rate, what does this tell us? What's going on in the S&P, what's going on in NASDAQ, these are all things we've looked at, and what's going on crypto, this huge inverse head and shoulders pattern with this falling wedge back test of the neckline of the shoulder, right? That's all that's been going on right now. So let's kind of assess, with that being said, before we start getting into the nitty gritty, till all are one, fucking Harmony 1 up 8%, glad to see that. Let's take a look at the relative health of Bitcoin, okay, going into the weekend. And then I want to start deep diving into the positive correlation that exists between NASDAQ, the S&P, and Bitcoin. I think it's very important that you get a very firm understanding of what that relationship looks like. It'll best help you and prepare you moving forward, like many of the other charts that I share. There's one other thing I was going to share. Oh, yes. For this weekend, by the way, on Sunday at 8 p.m., I don't anticipate live streaming for a weekly close. I mean, really what I would look for a weekly close live stream would be significant price action in the market, right? So if we get unexpected, which is a possibility, certainly a possibility, look at last Saturday, if we get unexpected monumental surge in price this weekend, something similar to last weekend but in the opposite direction, yeah, I will be live streaming. But absent of that, we're just going to keep it to Monday and we'll take a look at the weekly closes. Remember, keep in mind before we quick cover these two charts and assess the relative health of the market here, I have consistently said to you that I really want to see June come in bullish, okay? Because we need as much runway, okay? We need as much runway as possible so that prices can really take off and go as high as possible if we're going to hit new all-time highs this year, right? So the other thing I've stressed to you is, at this point now, we're only halfway through the month. Crypto moves very quickly. I've showed you guys charts plenty of times that, you go through these expansions of long corrections and consolidation, and once you really start moving to the upside, it's short, it's brief, it's swift, and the rates of appreciation are massive, and it occurs in just such a short period of time. One of the other things, real quick, last point here. One of the other things that I hit on, and I know I've hit on with you guys, I hit on this during the Twitter Spaces that I was on yesterday, was the fact that Bitcoin historically does what fewest people expect. And I can tell you the sentiment, great conversation yesterday. I appreciate healthy debate and healthy disagreement. I welcome that very much. There was one individual who was sharing some information, and as much as I agreed with certain portions of what he shared, and I disagreed with other portions, I can tell you that the general sentiment that I got, the sense, and it was a rather small audience, but still, the general sense I got was that people just don't understand how we could have a blow off top this year, right? We just went through this massive correction. So to think that we're going to undergo some massive rate of appreciation and then go through some other massive correction in the market, people just don't see how that's possible. So we will have to see how it plays out. Most people that I see on Twitter are calling for this 4-year cycle, and they have what I referred to yesterday as a TV script. It's almost like a TV script. They know what's going to happen this year, they know what's going to happen in 2024, and they know what's going to happen in 2025. You know, as much as I want to sit here and say crypto is not a scam, Bitcoin is not a scam, it certainly sounds like a scam if you would say to someone, hey, invest in this asset, the same thing happens every 4 years. That to me sounds like a scam. Put your money in here. We know what's going to happen for the next 4 years. It sounds like a scam to me. So you have to be open-minded and assess many charts to kind of come up with a definitive main hypothesis, conclusion in terms of what you see happening. So anyway, let's get back to these charts here. This 2-day falling wedge that I've pointed to, as you can see, this is still valid. You know, I've been live streaming every day with you guys, and I remember on Wednesday, the body of this candle was down here, and I said, hey guys, hold on. Let's allow time to develop. What did I say? Remain patient, right? Remain patient. One of the keys to being successful in investing is being patient, right? And unless if something materially changes in the charts, you don't change your thesis. You don't change your views on things. We were all the way down here, and I said, okay, you know, we were looking at a pattern more like this, like a falling, still sort of a falling wedge, but more like a falling channel here, declining channel, which is not bullish. And I said, we got to allow price action to develop here, okay? So once Thursday came and we saw a green day, we pushed all the way back up here, and look what's happening today. So we'll have to see how this continues. Now, taking it back to the 12-hour, though, let's not get real excited here. There's nothing to get overly excited about. I have spoken to key price areas that are important for price to get it back above, right? So I'm not getting excited really that much about price until Bitcoin starts punching above the 200 simple moving average on the 12-hour. It's at 27,300. So until we start punching back up with candle body closes on a 12-hour chart, like in the mid to upper $27,000 range, I'm really not. This is just chipping and chopping around. This doesn't excite me one bit, okay? Guys, thumbs up. Takes a second. Appreciate it. I do not have an enforcer in the audience today. So that's the 12-hour. That's the 2-day. And again, look at what's going on here. I mean, need I say more? Inverse head and shoulders. Falling wedge is still valid. In fact, now we can draw it. I would draw it more like this. Okay, falling wedge is still valid, and look what we've done here. We've back tested this neckline of the shoulders, right? See? Well, that's all we've done right now. We haven't plummeted down into here. Okay, so just got to remain patient and see how the weekend develops here. Again, until proven otherwise, I am still anticipating June to come in as a bullish month, and I have spoken to the idea or concept that I believe there are going to be a lot of long wicks for the month of June, okay, that prices came all the way down but recovered in the month of June. We'll have to see if that plays out. Now, let us get into some interesting points of conversation here. Let's actually, what do I want to cover first? I didn't have as much time to put all these charts together as I had anticipated. Let's focus on the, we can talk about the S&P. Now, what am I illustrating here? First off, for the first time ever, I am utilizing, I actually have a TradingView Pro account, so I need to start using more of these advanced features. But I have two charts side by side here. Okay, both of these are on weekly time frames. Okay, could have condensed it to a month, but I think weekly or a 2-week chart would be more helpful. Okay. So on the left, we have Bitcoin, and on the right, we have the S&P. Now, what's going on with these horizontal lines? The green and red horizontal lines are representing the all-time high and the low since we've bounced, the lowest point since we bounced, respectively, on the Bitcoin chart, the timing, okay? So we topped here at 64. That's not right. Hold on. We topped here There we go, 69,000, okay. 69,000 back in November, on the week of November 8th, right? That coincides with this point in time. Does that make sense? And when we bottomed in Bitcoin, okay, we bottomed on this week, November 22nd, we bottomed at 15,479. November 21st, 2022, that week, corresponds to this time period here on the S&P, okay? So what I'm attempting to do is to translate when we topped out and we bottomed out on Bitcoin, where were we at on the S&P and the NASDAQ, okay? Couple things to illustrate here. First off, the first thing I would like to point out here is, am I not correct in saying that the general direction up until this point, okay, in March, in April here is similar, right? Moved up, kind of moved down, and then moved up, okay, in April, right around here. So the general direction up to that point, would you not agree that the general direction of price looks very similar, right? It looks very similar, okay? The next thing that I would point out in this chart, the next thing that I would point out is the date that Bitcoin topped, okay? The S&P lagged that. We topped several weeks later. We didn't top until January 22nd, January 3rd, excuse me, that week of January, the first week of January of this year. Okay, so we lagged by approximately 7 to 8 weeks. Okay, so you see there's a little bit of a lag there. The general, when we say, again, just as a refresher for everyone, when we say positive correlation, what we mean is the general direction of price moves in the same direction, whether you're talking about up or down, right? But it's so important for you to understand that what we're not saying, what is not implied in that statement, is that they both move in unison up and down on the same days, on the same weeks. There are lags sometimes in terms of when these things bottom and top and move, right? Sometimes Bitcoin moves before the NASDAQ and the S&P. Sometimes it lags the NASDAQ and the S&P. But when you zoom out and you begin to look at, or get on a more granular level here, and you start to look at the general direction of price, they move in the same direction, okay? The next thing I would point out, when Bitcoin had bottomed the last week here in November of 22, S&P had already bottomed. We bottomed back here in October. We bottomed more than a month earlier, right? We were already. So you see as Bitcoin, see this. This is very important to point out. Now, going back to this point in time, when we were back in the 10th of October, 2022, we were right around this point right here, okay? Well, look what happened. The S&P just made this strong move up, right? What did Bitcoin do? It rolled over, okay? And it created its all-time low, okay? But then it subsequently moved back up and caught up to the S&P, okay? It caught back up to the S&P. Now, what is going on with the orange box, okay? The orange box starting at the 13th of March, 2023, you can see this is the 13th of March, 2023. We saw big moves up, right? A big candle here. We saw some big moves up a few weeks here. But look what happened with Bitcoin. Look what happened here. It moved up, but since it's just been consolidating. See this? See this falling wedge we've looked? It's consolidated. Whereas the S&P has just continued to push up, okay? So there's a little bit of deviation here. The last thing I would express to you from this chart that I wanted to share with you, from the high to the low, a common thing that traders will look at is what's known as the Fibonacci retracement. And we've looked at it a few times. So if we take from the bottom of our move, all the way, from the top of our move, all the way to the bottom, and this is just approximate, you can see that when we came back down, we bounced back up to somewhere close, but not quite, to the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement. Well, what has the S&P done? The S&P has bounced all the way up to not quite, but close to the 0.786 Fib retracement. So one of the things that I draw from this analysis is that We have a high degree of positive correlation here. There's no question about that, and we'll go into it in even greater detail by going back in time. And the second thing is these moments where things bottom and top and move, they don't happen at the same time. And the third conclusion I would reach from looking at this is that Bitcoin for the moment has lagged the S&P, and it seems like it has some ground to make up, right? Now, if we actually went all the way back up and hit some sort of area that was similar to the S&P, you'd be talking about hitting some area close to about 48,000 up here, okay? So, is it possible that Bitcoin has as much room to make up relative to the S&P as $48,000? Could we see, and let me tell you, looking at the charts, and we'll look at it next week, the S&P, as great as it's been performing, as excited as I've been that now we're closing the week above 43.25. I've hit on that so many times. More than likely, just looking at the price indicators, we need to cool off at some point. So what wouldn't surprise me is the S&P consolidates around 43.25 for a little bit, a few weeks, as Bitcoin starts to surge up past $40,000, up to 44, up to 48. And yes, maybe the S&P does continue churning up, but at a lower rate of appreciation. This chart is telling me that there is a strong possibility that Bitcoin will be making a very strong move over the course of the next several weeks. Now, let's take a look at the NASDAQ, okay? Same sort of idea here, okay? When we topped, when we bottomed. You can see that the NASDAQ topped 2 weeks later, and it bottomed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks earlier. So again, as we were rolling over, the NASDAQ just continued moving up, okay? Now the deviation, let's talk about the deviation again. Let's zoom in on this deviation. You can see that as soon as we made a big move up here, similar to what happened with the NASDAQ has just continued to churn up, okay? But we have been consolidating. So it's the same story as on the NASDAQ. And again, very similar price action going on here in terms of the general direction. Do you not agree? I'm not going to look at the Fibonacci retracement levels, but they're about similar. The NASDAQ has moved all the way up to, I think it has actually exceeded the 0.786 Fibonacci retracement level. So once again, is this implying that Bitcoin potentially has the opportunity to hit a level over the course of the next handful of weeks here, maybe 4 to 6 weeks, up towards $48,000? I think there is a high probability for that. Now, let's go back in time even further on the NASDAQ, okay? I only put this together for the NASDAQ. I didn't put it together for the S&P. I'm sure if we looked at the S&P, it would tell the same story. I don't know if we're going to have time to look at it today, but you'll still get the general gist looking at the NASDAQ. Now what I want to do is I want to go back in time to late 2018 and early mid-2019. This is when, if we just zoom out on Bitcoin for one moment, this is when we had, remember we had our blow-off top at the end of 2017, and then we were in this massive descending triangle here, and we plummeted down at the end of 2018. Okay, so that's the point in time we're at. Well, as you can see, the first thing I would point out here, you can see general direction of price is, general direction of price on the NASDAQ is down, and we bottomed 2 weeks later. Okay, the red line, horizontal line, is where Bitcoin bottomed. We bottomed 2 weeks later on the NASDAQ, okay? Same direction of price, and we bottomed here. And then we continued to move up where we had this massive blow off top. This was our gravestone doji candle that almost hit $14,000, okay? This is where Bitcoin topped out at in our move. Now look what happened with the NASDAQ. We had a little correction. We continued moving higher to make a high here before both of us rolled over. We rolled over, okay? But in this case, Bitcoin consolidated. It had already, it basically front ran the NASDAQ, okay? At this point, the NASDAQ was playing catch up, okay? And it experienced appreciation to the upside, whereas Bitcoin was consolidating prior to our massive beer virus crash, okay? Beer virus crash. Those coincided around the same time. As you can see, Bitcoin bottomed at this candle, Okay, the week of March 9th, 2020, the NASDAQ bottomed 2 weeks later. So again, there's a little bit of lag. You can see that the price action is very similar. It's just that there's a lag in recognition. In this case, what I would highlight from 2019, 18, is the idea that number one, once again, we're looking at a general trend that looks very similar in nature. The general movement of price is very similar. The second thing I would take away from this is that Bitcoin topped before the NASDAQ in this case. And the NASDAQ had to play catch up for many months actually. Okay? We crashed around the same time. We crashed at the same time, I should say. But Bitcoin bottomed 2 weeks before the NASDAQ. Now let's go after we had bottomed. This was the glorious time when all of your altcoins were going crazy. Bitcoin bottomed and it started running towards 64,000. Let's see what happened here. Well, as we can see in this chart, Bitcoin, and this is really a double top. This is part of our expanded flat correction. We topped at $64,000 and $69,000. That's what these two green lines are saying. Well, let's look at the NASDAQ here. We ran all the way up. When we topped, the NASDAQ was only here, and we did not have any form of a double top here. This was not a case where we double topped, okay, where we had an ABC correction, anything of expanded flat correction. NASDAQ has had a different form of a correction. But in this case, you can see that we topped, we actually topped, when Bitcoin topped at 69,000, you can see that the NASDAQ topped 2 weeks later. So again, the general direction, as much as Bitcoin, you can see that Bitcoin had a sharper correction, right? We had a correction here, but look at this price action here. Okay, a little bit of a sharper correction, not a sharper correction, but then we began to move up. Had a little bit of a pullback. They do not occur at the same time. They do not occur exactly at the same time. Again, there's just a couple weeks of lag recognition here. Hit our all-time high, okay? So I don't see how you can't look at these charts and say they are moving in the same direction. There are some differences, and they're lagging in terms of when they top and bottom. So if we go back again to this chart, I will illustrate to you what I believe in generalities is going to happen. I believe... What's up, Kathleen? Glad to have you in here. Sorry you're having such a hard time. Hey, enforce the thumbs up button. No one's giving some likes. I got to have a little love here in my life, all right? I need some form of love in my life, all right? And if the only love I can get are virtual thumbs up, I'm going to take whatever the fuck I can get, all right? What I would expect, we'll just use a bars pattern here, okay? I would expect over the coming weeks here, and take with a grain of salt the timing here. The point is just the relative direction of price that I want you to get here. I would expect, and ignore this candlestick, but some sort of movement like this as the NASDAQ is maybe doing something like this. Bitcoin needs to catch up. So a little bit of maybe consolidation in here, and we'll continue moving higher as Bitcoin just starts marching up. There's going to be a small deviation just as there was here, okay? We are witnessing, and this is par for the course of what we just looked at. What's up, Jorge? Glad to see you in the house. Just as there's a small deviation here with this price action, I think there's going to be another small deviation, history suggests so, over here, okay, where we do one of these squigglies, okay? We have a little bit of a correction here where we don't get the correction here. Bitcoin, what I'm seeing is Bitcoin needs to play catch up to the NASDAQ and S&P, and there are certainly funds that will be rotating from the stock market into crypto, okay? So that is my view. I hope that you found that helpful. Drop me any questions that you have in terms of if something wasn't making sense. Trying to quickly evaluate the charts. I don't know if there's anything else I wanted to take a look at with you guys before going into the weekend. I really want the weekly closes to come out so we can evaluate what the fuck is going on with Synapse. Wow, up 12%. Christ, let's take a look at that. I know I've told you guys I have I have a rather large holding in Synapse. Wow, let's take a look at that. So I redrew Synapse. Happy to be at the House of Gains. Jorge, go back and listen to the beginning of the live stream. Well, just go back and listen to the story that I had right before the live stream. So, as you recall, this was in a falling wedge and we broke out. Okay, I had the falling wedge drawn validly like this, and price data has developed, and if we redraw the formation based on emerging price data, we can see we're actually still in a falling wedge. Wow, up 12%. All right, I'd like to see that. But, you know, nothing about this chart excites me until we start to break out of this falling wedge significantly. And we start testing up, we start breaking $1. But good to see it up 12%. You can't see a thumbs up button when you watch these live streams. Thanks, Jorge. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend as well, brother. Is anyone else having an issue with thumbs up button? Like you can't, is there an issue with YouTube? I had one issue with an earlier video when I did a live stream where when I was with you guys live, I got really good attendance and statistics in terms of how many people gave a thumbs up. I might have had like 15 viewers. You know, I had like 13 thumbs up, which, you know, I mean, for this channel is a lot. You know what I'm saying? And then when I went back to the video at night, when I went to sleep, I saw there was like 1 thumbs up. And I didn't understand what the hell was going on. So, am I getting demonetized before the channel's even monetized? My channel isn't even monetized at this point. I'm still a couple hundred hours shy of monetizing the channel. So, really? Is there an issue? Interesting. Let's see. I'm going to my channel. I see that I'm live. I have to mute this. No, I see a thumbs up. In fact, I'm going to give myself a thumbs up. Don't know what the issue is. I don't know why you guys are... Oh, okay. So, little technicality there. Thank you, Choke on Bones. Damn, that is an interesting name. Thank you, Choke on Bones. You got to close the comments to actually see the thumbs up. Appreciate that. Close the chat. Okay. All right. Okay. So, close the chat, and then you can show some support by giving a thumbs up. Okay, that makes sense. That actually makes sense. That has happened to me where the comments are open and you can't see the thumbs up. It's really interesting you say that. I might have to reiterate that because I think there are people that probably do want to show support for the channel, but they don't see it right away, and then they're just like, oh, whatever, you know. Yeah, not too much else exciting going on. Tracks up 8%. That's good to see. Having some little recoveries today. The thing that I would keep in mind is you're gonna have bounces like this. Like, okay, it's nice to see Harmony up like 8% and H-bar's up 3.4%, but honestly, this is nothing. Like, this to me is nothing. You know, this is what you want to watch for, and this is hopefully also why you tune into the channel. What you really want to do is you want to watch for key areas of resistance on the way up to get broken and for price to remain above it. Those key areas, once we start breaking our bounce highs, okay, and solidifying the idea that we've either double bottomed for some of these or created a higher low, and we start creating higher highs. That's once we start creating a new higher high relative to the last bounce high. You know, like Harmony 1 off the top of my head. So I'll give you a great example. I think Harmony 1 topped out from its last move at like 2.8 cents. All right, well, until I really start to get a little more excited about Harmony 1, I want to see it get up to 3 to 5 cents, right? I want to see it really start to push up towards 5 cents. So it's nice to see some bounces here, but it's nothing to get super excited about. We need to see price sustain itself, right? And ultimately, the other thing to keep in mind, which I've kind of spoken to before, is we really need to see some strong movements from Bitcoin, right? Your altcoins, just go back in history. Maybe we can take a look at it next week. Just go back in history. You really don't start to see, the hell that is. You don't start to see really strong bounces in your altcoins and for them to really, most of them, for them to really start to go haywire until Bitcoin breaks this all-time high. So until you start to see Bitcoin at like $70,000, you're not going to have these huge, glorious green days where you're seeing, I'm just looking at the chart here. Ethereum Classic is up 35%, XRP up 25%, XLM up 35%, Harmony One's up 40%. You're not going to see moves like that. They will come. They will definitely arrive. I know it's very difficult when you're in this environment to ever imagine. I know the Jim Cramers out there. You go through this and then you literally think this sharp move, look at how short of a period of time that is. You think this isn't possible again because you went through all of this, right? But very quickly, people are going to be reminded that this happens very quickly when fewest people expect it. This action happens very quickly, okay? So you're not going to see those monumental surges in altcoins, a massive alt season. There will be another massive alt season, despite what some people are saying, okay? Whatever the emotional narrative is, all right? Until charts fundamentally break down and charts are crashing and they're just, they look terrible, which is not happening. History tells us we're going to have a massive alt season. And that massive alt season is not going to be realized until Bitcoin breaks its all-time high, right? So as soon as Bitcoin, again, I'm expecting soon, if my thesis is correct, we're going to see a large move in Bitcoin soon. Again, until we start really pushing and breaking up here, right? This is when your alts are really going to start running, okay? This area is when your alts are really going to start running. Whether I'm correct and this is happening in the, what are we in? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Whether it really starts happening in September or October or whenever this really starts kicking in, or I'm wrong, and this doesn't happen until March or April, whatever the case is, that is when you're going to see these monumental runs in altcoins, okay? So keep that in mind. Yo, brother, you have no idea. When I was driving through that area of town, I was like, do I really live this close to this? Like, it was fucking crazy. I mean, let me put it to you this way. You're in the wrong side of town. You are on the wrong side of town when you're literally driving through and everyone is fucking looking at you. And you're like, I need to get the fuck out of here. Again, I can handle myself, okay? I'm not scared of anything. I can handle myself. But I'm also smart, okay? I'm not looking to create trouble where there's no trouble to be had, all right? I love everyone. Peace. 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 I don't care what nationality, what skin color you are, what gender you are, wherever the fuck you are. I love everybody, all right? I'm not looking for a war. I was driving through there, and I was just like, I need to get the fuck out of here. Yeah. OnlyFans. I was thinking of starting an OnlyFans. What do you guys think? You think I should start an OnlyFans? Actually, that's funny. Funny story about that. Actually, my 2 exes ago, she gave me an idea to start an OnlyFans for something. I actually thought it was a pretty creative idea. I was like, I might actually have to look into that. It was actually not a bad idea. Never put that fruition, but I don't know. Maybe someday. I don't know. She came up with a good idea. 25% off for you. Ding, ding, ding. Jorge, I don't swing that way, but if I did, I don't. But if I did. Guys, I don't have any other charts to take a look at. I think that the chat is getting lively on a Friday. I don't have any other charts to cover for you. I think the one thing I want to leave you with before you guys sign out, again, just as a reminder, I am anticipating this month to close bullish, okay? And if it really does pan out the way I think it is going to pan out, there could be a weekend coming up here, kind of evaluating the calendar. I don't know that it's going to, I mean, something monumental would have to happen this weekend. It could be next Sunday. It could be Sunday, the 2nd of July. Actually, I won't be available that weekend. I'll be traveling. That's right. So it could be next weekend. But if there is a monumental week and I am available, I will live stream for the weekly close. Again, I am anticipating, and I'm very hopeful, that there's a little bit more excitement and engagement within the community. I can get some more people in here to get excited. I can share about what's going on with Bitcoin and other crypto projects. So just remain patient, right? The sky is not falling. Despite whatever headlines you see, the sky is not falling. I always want to remain very truthful with you and authentic. If I saw something extremely concerning in the chart or something that changed my opinion, I owe it to you. I owe it to myself from an integrity standpoint. I would come out and share that with you. I really would. But there's nothing concerning right now. There isn't. You see what I'm staring at on the computer screen here. So let's just be patient. Let's see how price develops over these next few weeks. I will be here every step of the way. Although I do have some travel coming up with, it's summertime, right? I'm going to be traveling. So I'll keep you guys abreast of that, but there'll be some days where I won't be available, unfortunately. But I'll have a laptop with me, and I'll try to live stream as much as possible. So everybody have a good weekend. Have yourself, if you like to drink, have yourself a little beverage. Sit back, chill, relax, watch a movie. Be with the significant other. Enjoy your time. Be with the family. And I will catch you guys more than likely on Monday, if not Sunday. All right? Take care. Share the video with at least one person. Spread awareness. And let's all carry the logical, sensical, non-emotional education forward. Take care, everybody. It's good to see everybody in the comments here. Take care, everybody.